Hey everybody, Rich with Prep U down here in a portion of the bunker that I like the best. Let's see how many hits or views this video gets. As the title suggests, blue state AGs tell Biden to block sales of Lake City 5.56 ammo to civilians. Um, we've done a couple videos on Lake City recently. One was the increase in their primer manufacturing, also the increase in their facility. And when we look at some of the comments about their facilities, I know it's in here somewhere. Now we'll just go through this as I go. Hey, this story came to me, found it on an article from Epoch Times. Interesting publication. I do get it occasionally. I like to read it. It's very interesting. Of course, I always double check my sources from or their sources, and a couple other places also are starting to talk about this. I haven't seen too much about this on any of these social media sites, but I'm sure it will be. Maybe this is the first one. Maybe this will pique some interest. Anyhow, basically, New York Attorney General James, Letitia James, is leading a multi-state coalition of 20 attorney generals calling on Biden administration to halt the sales of 5.56 caliber ammunition to civilians by the Lake City Army ammunition plant. And this is based in Missouri, and it's a supplier for U.S. Military rounds. Not only 5.56, but several others. Her comment was, billions of rounds of military-grade ammunition manufactured at the Lake City Army ammunition plant have been sold on the commercial market, leading to their use in many of the most tragic mass shootings in recent history. I will add, but she doesn't mention the number of mass shootings that have stopped or homeowners protected by the same firearm platform. I go on. This was a letter to the White House on January 9th. We ask your office to conduct an investigation into the contracting process that led to this situation and to take actions to ensure that military grade and military subsidized ammunition stays out of civilian hands. Okay, that was the letter she put together, and these are the states that signed: Arizona, California, Connecticut, Delaware, the District of Columbia, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. All the AGs from those states signed it. Epoch Times says basically why many of these states have enacted restrictions on firearms. Others, including Arizona and Vermont, maintain a tradition of relatively permissive gun laws. Okay, so why they signed this, I don't know. Don't have any idea. The signatures express their desire to restrict civilian access to ammunition commonly used in the semi-automatic AR-15 style rifle, citing in their letters mass shootings in which the 5.56 caliber was used. All right. They also stated ammunition from Lake City is manufactured for military use and does not belong in our communities. We ask the White House to ensure the future production contracts prohibit the sale of military weapons and ammunition to civilians. Well, we already know that military-style weapons aren't sold to the public unless you have, I believe it's called a Class 3 federal license, and it's very prohibitive to get that. It's very expensive. You go through unbelievable background checks. And I could be wrong. Commenters, let me know if I'm wrong on that. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. Ask my wife. So Mark Olivia, he's public affairs director at National Shooting Sports, made the comment, this is just another way for gun grabbers to go through the back door of not allowing legal citizens to own and operate their firearms. It said AR-15 styles are the most popular rifle sold in the United States. The share of AR-15 style rifles rose about 1% of all firearms produced to almost 25% in 2020. So, and it's much more than that now. So there's estimate that they talk about these rifles being used in mass shootings. As of right now, I believe we're talking about 4%. 4% of all mass shootings are done with AR style rifles. But let's face it, the AR rifle, nor does a pistol or anything else, get up off the table and walk into a classroom or walk into a theater or a church and start shooting people on their own. They are an inanimate object, just as a knife is, just as the front end of an SUV is, just as explosives are. Without the human element, the crazy human element, they can't do anything. But the crazy gun grabbers, they don't want to hear that. That's contrary to what they believe. So, what's the history of Lake City? So, Lake City currently manufactures an estimated 30% of all 5.56 ammunition sold to the American public. And it has traditionally sold its excess production to civilians as a way to keep its peacetime capacity at a sufficient level that it would not have to face staffing or equipment shortages during the war. Okay, this was a Defense Department decision. And why was it a decision? And why is it a great decision? Well, what happens is they keep all their equipment and their personnel, trained personnel, at the very top of efficiency. So, whatever they don't have contracts for the government or other government contracts around the world, they can sell. Let's say, here's an example. Let's say they only have contracts for 75% of production. Well, they do 100% production, so they keep the people employed, they keep the machinery working. So, in times of war, okay, follow me here. In times of war, they shut off the civilian sales, and it's only for military. But they haven't done anything. They didn't have to hire new employees. They didn't have to get their equipment running. They didn't have to do any of that. It is purring like a kitten, and it is cranking off, and whatever's excess goes for civilian sales. And they claim that the reason they did this is because of maintenance of tools and skilled labor force to be able to flex and meet the demands of the Defense Department during the time of war, Mr. Olivia said. Okay, so contrary to false claims that the military subsidized civilian ammunition sales, the sale of ammunition produced at Lake City reduced the costs to taxpayers because it ensures that the manufacturing capability remains ready to serve when needed at no extra tax dollars. Okay, so in addition to 5.56, Lake City makes a lot of other calibers, not only for the military, but for civilian use only. They also produce primers, which they use in-house. So, I mean, some of the other calibers, 9mm, 308, 30-06, and 12-gauge shotgun. I love their shotgun shells. They're absolutely fantastic. They're great for self-defense. They're just, fantastic. So, Mr. Olivia went on to say, despite unsubstantiated claims made by these attorney generals, calling Lake City ammunition military grade is an attempt to falsely label the ammunition for political purposes. And he really is correct. They also made the claim that, according to Ms. James, the federal government has invested over $860 million to improve production at Lake City, meaning taxpayer funds are subsidizing the production of these dangerous rounds sold to civilians. And as we know, that is not true. That's a false claim. Most of the claims in here are false, and it does restrict the Second Amendment. So, what do you think? Tell me what you think. From going to not that longer or that much in the future that Lake City was going to produce more ammunition, allowing it to go to more civilians to keep the price down, they are now talking about cutting off all production. And what does that do? Well, as in the article where Mr. Olivia said from National Shooting Sports Organization, it is going to severely hamper their operations and cost the taxpayers more money. And we all know that this caliber and many of the other calibers are not the majority of firearm that are used in mass shootings, but they sure are a lot of firearms that are used in protecting civilians, protecting family members in their home, in their places of work, and when they're out and about. So there you go. We're going to keep an eye on this. Miss Letitia James is at it again. She's probably campaigned on that one too. So if you live in any of those states, let's read those states one more time, just in case you live in those states. Some of these states, I mean, you can understand. But so the letter was signed by AGs from Arizona, California, Connecticut, Delaware, the District of Columbia, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. So there you go. If you live in those states, you can always call your AG and go, what the F, dude? But in most of these states, it wouldn't do you a darn bit of good if you call them either because they don't care. So anyhow, there you go. There's the information. About it, I don't know where it's going to go with the White House. It all depends. President Biden has always said that he would like to end the modern sporting rifle platform sales to civilians, although you wouldn't sell those to the military either because you could get killed really quick having a semi-automatic weapon in a war zone. So that's it. I get off my soapbox. Other than that, hope you're staying warm on this cold January weekend. Coming up to Martin Luther King Jr. Day tomorrow. And also, as we always say, thank you, subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please click the subscribe button and ring that bell so you always get all my videos right off the bat. And as we always say, please be aware of your surroundings. Please have enough water, ammunition, medicine, food, whatever you need to shelter in place or to bug out. It doesn't matter if it's weather related, if it's civil unrest related or whatever, you need to be prepped. And you know why? Because prep, like your life depends on it, because it does. Thanks a lot. See you next time.